Good morning, class. It's Thursday, April 9th, 2020. Today in math, you're going to be learning about rectangles. You'll have some questions to answer on your Google quiz in your Google Classroom after the video. In reading, you're going to be reading the article, Can We Float Like Ducks? You'll have some questions to answer on your Google quiz, which is in your Google Classroom. In writing, you're going to continue to work on your rough draft of Celebrity Dinner Party. For science, we're going to be watching 2 YouTube videos about vertebrates and invertebrates. You'll have some questions about these videos afterward on your Google quiz, which is in your Google Classroom. And if you have time for prep today and would like to try it out, remember, try out that green screen app. Some upcoming assignments that you have, these are due tomorrow, is to make sure that your book for your book movie project is finished, that you've finished the movie for your book movie project, and that you've made a digital presentation using Book Creator for your book movie project. Remember, these are the elements that should be included in your book movie project. You should have a title page with the name of the book and the movie if they're different. The next 2 pages should have the same content: main character, who's the most important person in the story; minor characters, other people who are in the story but they're not maybe quite as important; the setting, where the story's happening and when it's happening; the problem, the theme, what the character learns, and possibly you as a reader, and a summary of the story. I should know that information for both the book and the movie. Last, you'll be creating a Venn diagram using the app Venn. Remember, one circle is going to tell me about things that are unique to the book. The other circle is going to tell me about things that are unique to the movie. And in the middle, I'm going to tell about the things that are the same about both. You'll take a screenshot of that Venn and add it to your book creator. So today for math, we're going to be learning about rectangles, but you're going to need to know a few words. Some of these we've already reviewed this week and some we have not. So remember, a polygon is a many-sided shape. That means as long as it has several sides, it could be a polygon. A triangle with 3 sides could be a polygon, as well as an octagon with 8 sides. A quadrilateral is a specific type of polygon that has 4 sides. Sides are the edges of the shape, right here and here. Closed means that all of these sides actually connect with each other and there's no holes or gaps. Parallel, if we remember, means that the lines in the shape, the sides of the shape, or 2 sets of lines, run equal distance from one another forever and never cross. And a right angle. This is something we talked about last week when we were reviewing angles. Remember, right angle means that the corner looks like the letter L. Okay, so here we have a rectangle. Like we stated on the last slide, it is a polygon. Why is it a polygon? Well, it has many sides. Here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And remember, if it has 4 sides, then it's a specific type of polygon called a quadrilateral. A rectangle is also a closed shape. I know this because each side of the shape connects to the other. There's no holes or gaps. And then the last thing that really sets the shape apart from the other shapes we've learned this week is that it has 4 right angles. I can see that right here. This corner looks like the letter L, and this corner looks like the letter L. So does this corner and this corner. They all look like the letter L. So let's compare this with the shapes that we learned earlier this week. Yesterday, the day before, we learned about parallelograms. Now, rectangles and parallelograms have a few things in common. They're both many-sided shapes, polygons. They're also both quadrilaterals, 4-sided shapes, and they're both closed. All those edges connect with one another. But they had some things that were unique to them. So to be a parallelogram, you had to have 2 sets of parallel lines. I'm going to grab out one of my pens so I can show you how I can see that. So here on this parallelogram, I can see here is one set of parallel lines, and right here and here is another set of parallel lines. That's what I needed to have it be a parallelogram. Now, to be a rectangle, I have to have 4 right angles. And we showed this on the last slide, that a rectangle does indeed have 4 right angles. Each of the corners looks like the letter L. Now, let's see if any of these are one or the other. So, this parallelogram, does it have L-shaped corners? No. Since it doesn't have L-shaped corners, it is not a rectangle. But let's check out the rectangle. Does it have two sets of parallel lines? Well, let's grab out our marker and check. Right here, I see a set of parallel lines. Those lines are running equal distance from each other, on and on, never crossing. And here, I see another set of parallel lines that are running equal distance from one another and never ever crossing. So this rectangle does have two sets of parallel lines. So this rectangle is also a parallelogram. So a rectangle is a polygon, a quadrilateral, and a closed shape that's also a parallelogram. The reason it's also a parallelogram is because it has two pairs of parallel lines. Okay, so let's try that same thing out with the other shape we learned this week, the trapezoid. So again, we know a few things they have in common. They're both polygons, many-sided shapes. They're both quadrilaterals with four sides, and they're both closed shapes. All the edges of the shapes connect. Now, let's go back to that trapezoid we learned about earlier this week. It has one set of parallel lines. That's what makes it unique. And I'm going to pull out my marker so that we can see that. So, here on my trapezoid, I see one set of parallel lines. We talked about these other lines up here. They're just a set of intersecting lines. They don't actually run next to each other equal distance forever and ever. Those ones are not parallel. So it only has one set of parallel lines. Now, let's see if it has the four right angles so we can see if it's also a rectangle. Let me grab another colored marker. This corner doesn't really look like an L to me, and neither does this one, or this one, or this one. This trapezoid is definitely not a rectangle. But let's go ahead and check out the rectangle. So, the rectangle definitely has those four right angles. Let's see if it has at least a set of parallel lines. I'm going to use that red marker again. Right here, I can see one set of parallel lines. Those lines are running next to each other forever and ever. They're equal distance from one another. I also see a second pair. But I only have to have one pair to be a trapezoid. So this rectangle is a trapezoid. This trapezoid is not a rectangle. Right now might be a good time to pause this video. Go to your Google Classroom, tap on your Classwork tab, go to your Remote Learning Quizzes, and begin your quiz for today. Work on those math questions, and come back to the video if you have any additional questions. Okay, for reading today, you're going to be back in our short story called Can We Float Like Ducks? Today, I'm going to be asking that you use a skill we worked on in class called using context clues. Remember, as we read, adults or children, we come across words that we don't know. And the best way that we can learn that word is to read around it. We can read the sentence before it or after it, or read the sentence that the word is in, excuse me, and we can try to make our best guess about what that word probably means. This works a lot of the time. I want you guys to do that today when you read this article. There are two words that I want you to pay attention to as you read the article and see if you can figure out what they mean without using a dictionary or asking anyone, just reading around it. I'd like you to pay attention to the word biomimicry as well as the word secrete. When you're finished, pause this video, go to your article called Can We Float Like Ducks? Read through it and try to make your best guess on those words. Then go back to your Google quiz and answer the questions concerning those words. In science today, you will be watching two videos on YouTube. Both videos will tell you about two types of animals, vertebrates and invertebrates. You'll have to answer a checkbox question about these two animal groups on your daily quiz on Google Classroom. It might be a good idea now to pause the video, go and watch your YouTube videos, answer the questions on the Google quiz, and come back to this video. In writing today, you will work on the middle part of your celebrity dinner party essay. Today will be the last day that we will work on the middle part of our celebrity dinner party essay. You may have noticed on Tuesday that in the attachments on your Google Classroom morning message, there was a copy of my celebrity dinner party essay. Look at that if you need some ideas or need to remember what exactly it should look like. I have the beginning highlighted in red and the middle highlighted in yellow. So today again, you will specifically be working on the middle section, which should have a problem. As a reminder of mine, my problem happened when my guest, John Cena and Abraham Lincoln, decided to have a wrestling match. That wasn't the worst part of it, though. While I was getting some food at the buffet for my birthday, one of the crowd members got so excited about the wrestling match in the middle of the restaurant that they threw all the utensils off their table, including a knife. That knife hit poor Vincent van Gogh, which we learned during art had already lost an ear, and unfortunately lost his others. This was a big problem. Make sure that your story has a big problem. The app of the day, I'd like you to spend 15 to 30 minutes on Freckle each day this week. I get an email sent from the Freckle company every single day so I can see who's been working on which sections. Make sure that you take the time to do this. I want you to tell me what section you worked on your daily quiz. For prep today, remember we're working with the Green Screen app. Most of us didn't get to travel for spring break, so again, if you can use the Green Screen app to make it appear that you went to visit somewhere, that would be fantastic. Also, if you're interested in doing the epic challenge of the day, you might have seen that it's National Unicorn Day. Maybe there could be a unicorn on your trip with you. All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening, and I will see you tomorrow.